Hey everybody, Mike Miller with the Herald Times, joined by basketball columnist Jeremy Price, coming to you from Assembly Hall after Saturday afternoon's 103-61 victory, snooze fest.
103 points sounds really exciting, though, Mike.
You know, not this one. Not these 103 points.
Not really.
No, there was
maybe a few minutes there. But.
Maybe a few minutes. Maybe a few moments of excitement here in this game. Otherwise, sorry, this is already off to some start.
It was a pretty perfunctory performance, as you might imagine, coming in. I mean, I don't think anything about this game surprised any of us, really, other than the fact that IU starters were still in the game with a 40-point lead with 4 or 5 minutes to go. But maybe that's not really a surprise either. So that's it.
Well, we do these scoop talks after every game, so we're coming to you again. We will find something to talk about. Five. I think Curtis Jones actually snuck in a basket there at the end to make it 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 guys in double figures, led by 18 points from James Blackman Jr. Very inefficient, start to the game, not only for Blackman, but really Indiana's entire team. Really just wasn't a very crisp performance, especially in the first half. Just missing shots. I think it took them 2.5 minutes to get their first basket of the day. It kind of set the tone for things, although they scored 103 points. What am I talking about? But it was a bit of an inefficient start for IU, and James Blackman was certainly an example of that. I think he was 3 for 13, I think, at the break. But again, IU's leading scorer were 3. All 3 of those were 3-pointers. He had a game. Yeah. 18 points for Indiana, finished 7 for 18 from the field. Indiana really settled in, late in the first half, carried that through into the second half. I think midway through the second half, they're up by 40, got back to that point at the end of the game, and you have 103-61.
Yeah, and not to be lost in this, we're not saying that IU played dreadfully necessarily or anything like that, because they didn't. A little bit of a slow start, but shook that off and did some good things. I think the biggest thing, couple of things with this game. First of all, first game in 6 days, coming off last Sunday's game, so probably the first game where there's a significant layoff ahead of that. Some rust to be expected there, and obviously the level of opponent makes it hard to find that energy, which we talk about a lot with this team, and so they certainly had to create that a little bit for themselves today.
Yeah.
I think the second thing is, the next game, you got another week, then you've got Butler coming up. And the biggest thing for me is that I'm not sure this game did anything to prepare Indiana for playing Butler next week. Houston Baptist is a team that is more than happy to run up and down the floor, set the high pace. There's a reason Indiana scored 103 points. It wasn't necessarily because the offense was so great, but which it was at times, but Houston Baptist played at a pace that really sort of fostered that kind of scoring.
Yeah.
And if they could have kept pace, they would have. But they weren't capable. But obviously, that Butler game next week is going to be played. Butler's not going to want to go up and down the floor with Indiana necessarily, and I expect Butler's going to give Indiana a few different defensive looks as well. So this was sort of an opposite style in play from what Indiana's going to see next week. I would even say last week's games against SEMO or SIU Edwardsville were probably a little bit better preparation in those terms for what Indiana's going to see against Butler. I think Houston Baptist threw in a zone for, a handful of possessions today. So for those handful of possessions, it might have been useful. Other than that, I'm not sure there's a whole lot you can carry from one game to the other than maybe for a few individuals, maybe a little confidence.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think one guy who maybe starts with is Freddie McSwain. 11 minutes today. I think he had about 8 points. Yeah, 8 points. He was just active, and it was apparent that he was playing with confidence, and that's certainly a good development for a guy like him who's still a little bit raw in his overall basketball skills. And obviously we've seen him at times get lost on the bench through the first month of the season. But again, to have a game like this at this point in the year, certainly encouraging in that sense for Freddie McSwain.
Yeah, it's good for him. And the other thing with Freddie is what you see now as we've moved on in the year. At the outset, obviously, we know he had been working on his shot a lot, those kind of things. Early on, he was looking for the jump shot, shoot jumpers. He's kind of eliminated that part of the game. It's kind of like, he's gone back to what's familiar and what's comfortable for him, which is attack the basket, post up, crash the glass, things like that, and eliminated that jump shot. So he's finding sort of his comfort level with this team, and he's finding a little bit of confidence. Good for him to have a little bit of success today. obviously, Indiana's not expecting him to score 8 points on any kind of a regular basis. Really, just a guy that's going to come in, grab some rebounds, commit some fouls, take up some valuable minutes, especially when you've got a guy like OG Anunoby hurt, which we expect that he will be back against Butler, which is probably the biggest news of the day.
Yeah, it really is.
Not to bury the lead or anything.
OG was cleared today by all accounts from Tom Crean. Cleared, dressed, participated in some of the warm-up activities prior to the game. Didn't play, and that's probably one of the best coaching decisions Tom Crean made today.
Yeah.
Because there was absolutely no reason for him to play in this game. And again, I think even Tom Crean acknowledged afterwards, having near almost a week and a half layoff since he was actually out there late in that North Carolina game. It's not, it was, I don't want to say atrophy, that's not the right word, but maybe a little rusty, just kind of sitting on the bench. And again, I mean, you can say whatever you want. There's just no reason for that guy to be playing in this game. So you won't see him in the box score for good reason, but it does seem that he'll be back ready to go next weekend.
Right, there was no reason for OG to play. Did go through pregame warm-ups. Looked fine. I didn't see a whole lot of explosive type moves or anything that would really stress the ankle in any way, shape, or form there. And I think that was what Crean kind of referred to as that just sort of his comfort level. Mm-hmm. Could he have gone? Sure, but was he in a situation where he felt full go or felt like he could take off and do the things he would normally do? No, he would be probably trying to nurse that ankle a little bit, be a little bit cautious, be a little bit careful. Now he's got another week, get healthy. What you hope is that he's able to go pretty close to full go in practice towards the end of the week, and then you've got him for whatever you can get next Saturday.
Sure. We've spoken in these Scoop Talks before, or at least I have, about I really enjoy watching Juwan Morgan's game, just the overall just feel he brings to the lineup. Really disappointed in him today. He missed a shot. It was a missed three-pointer early in the second half. That'll end his consecutive streak of made baskets at 14, I believe it was.
Yes, but he did make the first two today.
That's true.
So that
take the good with the bad with Juwan.
Set a new Indiana record for consecutive field goals made in the process at 14. But yeah, the three he missed, it was wide open, and he himself questioned that he missed that shot.
He also blocked a shot off of I think it was it Green, Devontae Green's head, or did it?
I don't know. It hit somebody's head face.
Yeah.
I don't know whose. I never saw a replay from that. But
that was they did one of the free D 360 replays, and that was the highlight of the new scoreboard actually today. Watching that block and clunked right off a dude's head. So
good for Juwan.
Good for Juwan. Good for us too. It was a nice moment of levity.
I enjoyed his response post game, asked about that, and he said, "Well, if I could block every shot, I would." But very insightful.
Yeah, if I had a Corvette, I'd be driving it. Anyway,
so that's about it for Indiana over Houston Baptist.
You got anything else?
Nope.
No, Butler. We'll talk about Butler this week.
Yeah,
we got a whole week.
Yeah, I don't want to spoil things. I mean, we've got a game preview to do later this week and things. So let's hold a little something back.
Here's Juwan right now. We should get him over here and just express our
Our
disappointment.
first time post game player on Scoop Talk.
I almost got Tom Crean to do one of these. Actually, it was after the. It's actually after the Maryland game. We were crossing paths underneath in the tunnel under the stands over there as I was walking out to do Scoop Talk. I guess he watches because he was asking, "Are you going to do your video thing?" I guess he doesn't watch because he didn't know the name of it. But he was just. I said, "Hey, you want to join me?" He's like, And then you walked out, and I guess he got busy talking. So anyway, almost had Tom Crean as a guest.
One of these days.
Scoop Talk, so.
One of these days, we'll have somebody on as a guest.
One of these days, we'll be in Big Ten season talking about games that are meaningful and games that matter. But this one was just a game. It was just a game. Sorry. We should just end this because we're just rambling and saying dumb things now. Thank you for watching this. I don't know why you watched this one, but we're appreciative of your viewership and your readership. So thanks, guys. See you later.